It's Thursday, March 26, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, ARM ships its first chip in 35 years, and Meta is the buyer. Two progressive lawmakers push to freeze AI data center construction nationwide, and a supply chain attack hits one of the most widely used AI libraries in the world. Let's get into it.
ARM Holdings has launched the AGI CPU, its first production silicon in the company's 35-year history, and Meta is the lead customer. The chip, built on ARM's Neoverse V3 architecture with up to 136 cores per processor, is designed specifically for agentic AI workloads in data centers. ARM says it delivers more than double the performance per rack compared to legacy x86 platforms, translating to potential savings of up to $10 billion per gigawatt of data center capacity. Meta co-developed the chip to complement its own MTIA accelerators. Partners including OpenAI, Cerebras, Cloudflare, and SAP have also committed to deploying the new processor. It marks a major strategic shift for a company long known as the Switzerland of chip design.
Lawmakers push back on data centers. Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have introduced the AI Data Center Moratorium Act, legislation that would halt construction of new data centers in the United States until federal safeguards are in place. The bill targets worker protections, environmental standards, and caps on electricity price increases that communities have blamed on data center expansion. Sanders called AI the most sweeping technological revolution in human history and argued Congress is dangerously behind in understanding its consequences. More than 100 local communities have already enacted their own moratoriums, and 12 states are pursuing statewide measures. The bill faces long odds in a Republican-controlled Congress, and Senator John Fetterman dismissed it as China first. Still, the proposal underscores growing bipartisan tension over the infrastructure costs of the AI boom. Claude takes over your desktop.
Anthropic has rolled out a significant update to its Claude AI, enabling its code and cowork tools to remotely control a user's Mac. The feature allows Claude to open files, navigate browsers, run development tools, and operate the mouse and keyboard, all with no setup required. When Claude lacks a direct connector to an app or service, it will visually interpret the screen and act on what it sees. Users can even trigger tasks from their iPhone while away from their computer. Anthropic acknowledges the feature is still early and carries security risks, including potential exposure to prompt injection attacks. The company recommends users avoid running it with apps that handle sensitive data. The move escalates the race among AI labs to build agents that can do real work on real machines.
A critical security warning next.
A supply chain attack has compromised Lightlum, one of the most widely used open-source Python libraries in the AI ecosystem. The malicious code was injected into two versions of the package on PyPI, the central repository for Python software. According to Lightlum's investigation, the attacker likely gained access through a compromised dependency in the project's security scanning pipeline. The payload was designed to harvest environment variables, SSH keys, cloud credentials from AWS, Google Cloud and Azure, Kubernetes tokens, and database passwords. All stolen data was encrypted and exfiltrated to external servers. Users running the official Docker image were not affected, but anyone who installed the compromised versions directly is urged to rotate all credentials immediately. Security researchers called it a textbook example of the risks embedded in modern AI supply chains.
Amazon enters the robot market.
Amazon has acquired Fauna Robotics, a New York-based startup building compact, kid-sized humanoid robots designed for everyday consumer use. The deal, reported by Bloomberg, brings Fauna's team and technology into Amazon's growing robotics division. Fauna was founded by former Meta and Google engineers and had been developing human-friendly robots intended for household tasks and companionship. The acquisition is Amazon's second robotics purchase this month and signals a serious push into the consumer humanoid market, an arena that has attracted increasing investment as companies bet that capable household robots are finally within reach. Terms of the deal were not disclosed.
OpenAI puts $1 billion toward science.
The OpenAI Foundation, the nonprofit entity that controls OpenAI, has committed to investing at least $1 billion this year across 4 program areas: life sciences, jobs and economic impact, AI resilience, and community grants. The Life Sciences Initiative will focus on Alzheimer's research, opening public health datasets, and accelerating treatments for underfunded high-mortality diseases. Jacob Trefethen, formerly of Coefficient Giving, will lead the effort. OpenAI co-founder Wojciech Zaremba is joining as head of AI resilience, focusing on AI's impact on children and youth. The commitment represents a staggering scale-up from the Foundation's 2024 grant-making of just $7.6 million. It is funded by the Foundation's roughly $130 billion in equity from OpenAI's recent corporate restructuring.
Apple delivers a long-awaited update.
Apple has released iOS 26.4, bringing a slate of AI-powered features to iPhones and iPads. The headline edition is Playlist Playground, a new Apple Music tool that generates custom playlists from text prompts describing moods, activities, or vibes. The update also introduces offline song recognition, improved keyboard accuracy, and 8 new emoji. Perhaps most notably, CarPlay now supports voice-based AI chatbot apps, meaning services like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are accessible in the car for the first time. The update arrives as Apple continues to work toward a deeper Siri overhaul powered by Google's Gemini models, expected in a future iOS release later this year. For now, iOS 26.4 delivers a measured but meaningful step forward in Apple's AI integration.
The labor market faces new pressure. A new working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research has found that AI-related job losses in 2026 could reach 502,000 positions, a 9-fold increase from the 55,000 AI-attributed layoffs reported in 2025. The study, based on a survey of 750 chief financial officers, found that 44% plan some AI-related cuts this year, with roughly half targeting white-collar roles. Major layoffs have already been reported at Block, which cut 40% of its workforce, Atlassian at 10%, and Meta, which is reportedly planning a 20% reduction. However, the researchers caution this still represents just 0.4% of the overall workforce. Quote, "It is not the doomsday job scenario you might sometimes see in the headlines," said study co-author John Graham.
A senator sounds the alarm on graduates.
Senator Mark Warner of Virginia is warning that new college graduate unemployment could spike to 35% within 2 years as AI reshapes the entry-level job market. Speaking to Fortune, Warner pushed back on what he called conscious fear-mongering by AI executives like Sam Altman and Dario Amodei, who have made increasingly dire public predictions about job displacement. Warner argues the real impact will hit young workers hardest, as companies automate the kind of research, analysis, and administrative tasks that traditionally served as on-ramps to white-collar careers. The warning comes as the U.S. unemployment rate has risen to 4.4%, and job creation has slowed to near zero, creating an increasingly anxious environment for this year's graduating class.
NVIDIA eyes $1 trillion in chip sales.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has projected that the company's AI chip business will generate at least $1 trillion in cumulative revenue through 2027. The forecast, delivered during NVIDIA's recent developer conference, reflects soaring demand from hyperscale data center operators racing to expand AI infrastructure. NVIDIA posted record sales and earnings last quarter, driven by orders from big tech companies, including Meta, Microsoft, and Google. But its cumulative market share has slipped from 100% in early 2022 to 65% by late last year, as competitors including AMD and now ARM chip away at its dominance. Huang emphasized that efficiency gains in each new chip generation are keeping physics from slamming the brakes on the data center boom.
OpenAI raises another $10 billion.
OpenAI has closed an additional $10 billion in funding, bringing its latest fundraising round to approximately $120 billion. The capital infusion comes as the company undertakes a sweeping strategic overhaul, shutting down the Sora video platform, scaling back its ChatGPT instant checkout shopping feature, and refocusing on enterprise and coding tools ahead of a potential IPO. CEO Sam Altman is reportedly stepping back from direct oversight of safety and security teams to concentrate on raising capital, managing supply chains, and building data centers at an unprecedented scale. The company has also completed initial development of its next major AI model, codenamed Spud. OpenAI says it expects to generate $25 billion in revenue this year, though it projects burning roughly $14 billion.
And finally, AI hits the farm.
A New Zealand-based startup has raised $220 million to develop AI-powered collars for livestock monitoring. The system uses sensors and machine learning to track animal health, movement patterns, and feeding behavior in real time, alerting farmers to illness or distress before visible symptoms appear. The technology represents a growing niche within agricultural AI, where precision monitoring tools promise to reduce costs, improve animal welfare, and cut methane emissions through more efficient herd management. Investors are betting that as global food demand rises and climate regulations tighten, AI-driven agriculture will become not just a convenience, but a necessity for large-scale operations worldwide.
That's your briefing for Thursday, March 26th. For DX Today, stay curious.